Chosen one, there is a warning on my heart for you, and it carries one letter, J. I do not yet know if the J in your life is a person, a pattern, or a crossing you have been avoiding. Heaven chose the letter, not the name, for a reason, because all three are connected. Somewhere close to you right now, there is a J that functions as a mirror, showing you something about yourself. Somewhere there is a J that functions as a gate, standing between you and the season you are supposed to be walking into. And somewhere there is a J that is the name of a river, a crossing you cannot go around, only through. In Scripture, the J shows up right before the shift. Jordan before the promise, Joshua before the inheritance, Jericho before the victory. The warning you were sent today is not to frighten you. It is not to arm you against anyone. It is a lamp placed at the edge of a path, because what is about to test you will test whether you still react from the wounded version of who you were or respond from the consecrated version of who you are. Stay with me. Let me show you which J is yours. Before we go any further, I want to tell you what you are walking into if you stay with me all the way through this message. By the end, you will know exactly which J in your life heaven has been trying to show you. You will know the difference between the version of J that is a person, the version that is a pattern, and the version that is a threshold you have been circling without realizing it. You will receive a specific practice, something you can do in the 72 hours after a J moment, so you never again respond from the wounded version of yourself. You will hear a word from an ancient language, one single Hebrew word that will change how you read every hard season you have ever walked through. And at the very end, I am going to speak something over your crossing that I want you to carry with you for the next 30 days, even if you forget every other sentence of what I say today. This is not a casual message. Do not half listen. Settle in. These are the words being placed on my heart for you, and I want to be careful with them. I am not telling you I know every detail of your life. I am telling you what I have been shown, and I am inviting you to test it against your own spirit, because that is how truth works. Truth does not need to shout, it only needs to land. There is a river between where you are standing right now and where you are going. That river has a name. We will get to it before this message ends. But first, there is something you need to understand about the way you were made, because it explains why heaven is being this specific with you instead of somebody else. For decades, researchers have been quietly documenting something about people like you, people wired for a kind of perception most of the world has never learned the language for. There is a whole field of work in this space, names most people have never heard. Research like the youthful brain. Research on the brainwave patterns that chosen ones carry differently from the general population. It is a broader field than most realize, and part of why this warning came to you is because your spirit was already tuned to receive it. Other people would have scrolled past. You did not. That is not accidental. Now, before I tell you what the first layer of J means, I want to show you the 4 ways J is already present in your life. Most people will not recognize all 4. You will likely recognize at least 2, and that is enough. The first sign is an unsettled feeling around a specific interaction, a conversation you replay in your head long after it is over, a message you read 3 times before you answer, an exchange that seems completely normal on the surface, but leaves a kind of residue when you walk away from it. You cannot explain exactly why, but the feeling keeps showing up with the same person, in the same shape, over and over again. This is not paranoia, this is pattern recognition. The second sign is a name that keeps surfacing in your thoughts when you are not even thinking about anyone. You are in the middle of something ordinary, driving somewhere, making coffee, halfway through a meal. And suddenly, a name rises up without being invited. You try to move past it. It comes back. Then it comes back again. This is not overthinking. This is spiritual sight. The third sign is the strange distance you have been feeling with someone who used to be close to you. Nothing dramatic happened. There was no blow-up, no betrayal, no clear moment where something broke. But something has pulled away, quietly, over weeks or months, and you have been too tired to ask why. This is not imagination. This is inner knowing. The fourth sign is a dream, or a thought, or a symbol that will not leave you alone. A memory rises up at a strange hour. A dream last week that left something unresolved when you woke up. The same letter showing up on license plates, on notifications, in conversations that had nothing to do with the person you keep thinking about. This is not coincidence. This is confirmation. Sit with those four for a moment. If even two of them landed in your spirit, then the letter J is not random for you. You are exactly where this message was meant to find you. Here is the first layer of truth, and I want you to receive it with open hands. In almost every chosen one season, there is a J present. And by that I mean a specific person already in your close orbit whose name, or whose initial, starts with that letter. Not a stranger, not someone you barely know. Always someone close enough that their presence has weight in your life. It could be family. It could be a co-worker who sits 3 desks away from you. It could be a friend you have known for years. It could be someone you only met a few months ago, but who somehow already has access to parts of your life most people do not. The proximity is the point. J is never a distant figure. J is always near. And here is what I need you to understand about that nearness, because it is the part most people get wrong. The J in your life is not necessarily a bad person. I want to be very careful here, because the moment I say the word warning, your mind wants to assign the word enemy. Do not do that yet. Some J's are carrying something they themselves do not know they are carrying. Some J's are wounded people walking through a season you are not meant to absorb. Some J's are good people who simply arrived in your life at the wrong altitude, too high or too low for where you are now, and the mismatch is producing friction that was not there before. Some J's started healthy and have drifted into something your spirit can sense, even when your mind has not caught up yet. The warning is not to label them. The warning is to see them clearly, because what you cannot see clearly, you cannot navigate wisely. If this is resonating in your spirit right now, I want you to do something small but powerful. Type 2 words in the comments, just the words "I see it." That simple act is a confirmation to your own spirit that the veil has been lifted for you today, and it helps the next chosen one, scrolling through these comments, know they are not the only one sensing this in this hour. Now, listen to me closely, because most people stop right here. Most people identify the J person, and they think the teaching is over. They think the whole message was just a heads up about a difficult relationship, and if that is where you close this out, you will have missed the majority of what heaven was actually saying. Because the J is not just a person, the J is also a pattern, and once you see the pattern, you will never read a difficult relationship the same way again. Understanding the pattern behind the person is the part that changes everything about how you respond. And how you respond is the part that decides what opens on the other side. So, stay with me. Let me show you what is underneath. We just walked through the first layer together. You saw the 4 signs. You let the shape of J land in your spirit. You recognized the person or the proximity or the residue that has been following you around for weeks now. Here is where it gets deeper, because the person is only the carrier. Underneath the person, there is a pattern, and the pattern is what heaven was really pointing to when the letter was given instead of a name. Let me explain what I mean by a J pattern, because the word pattern can sound abstract, and I want to make this concrete for you. A J pattern is not about one individual. It is about a kind of relational friction that tends to show up at a very specific point in your journey. Always the same point, right before a threshold. Read the life of any person who walked into something larger than themselves, and you will find a J pattern sitting at the doorway of their next season. Think about Joseph for a moment. Not a long teaching, just one observation. Joseph, in the book of Genesis, had a full J pattern operating in his life. His brothers threw him into a pit. Potiphar's wife accused him falsely. The cupbearer forgot him in prison for 2 additional years when one word would have freed him. 3 different J patterns, 3 different carriers, 3 different seasons, and every single one of them arrived right before Joseph stepped into the second highest seat in all of Egypt. Not random cruelties, not bad luck, the pattern that always precedes elevation. And here is what I need you to hear plainly. When you are close to a threshold season, the pattern intensifies. People you did not expect to pull away become distant. People you trusted act strangely. Opportunities seem to glitch in the final mile right before they arrive. Small disagreements blow up in ways that do not match their actual size. Old memories resurface at exactly the wrong time. Phones ring with voices you had finally stopped thinking about. Most people read this wrong. They think the pattern is proof that they are cursed, or that they are not ready, or that the season they were hoping for is not actually coming. I want to give you the opposite reading, and I want you to receive it. The pattern is proof that you are in the right place. The intensity of resistance is almost always proportional to the size of what is coming on the other side. If the J pattern is strong in your life right now, lean in. Do not shrink. You are not under attack. You are being formed. You are being prepared. This is why the warning came with a letter instead of a name. Because it is not about the one person you are picturing right now. It is about the shape of what is happening through them, around them, and underneath them. And the shape has a name. The shape is called formation. Now I want to give you the word I promised you at the very beginning of this message. A single word, ancient, Hebrew, and it will change how you read every hard season you have ever walked through, starting today. The word is Yarden, Y-R-D-E-N, Yarden. In English we know this word as Jordan, as in the Jordan River. And here is the part that almost no one teaches, because it has been lost underneath centuries of translation. The Hebrew root of Yarden does not mean river, it does not mean border, it does not even mean water. It means the one who descends, the one who goes down. Read that again, slowly, in your spirit. The name of the river that Joshua had to cross before the people of Israel could enter the promised land literally means the one who descends. The descent is not punishment, the descent is position, the descent is preparation. Because here is the paradox, buried inside that word. To enter the elevation of the promised land, the people had to first step down into the descending water. The ascent was only available on the other side of the descent, and the river was not something to be avoided. The river was the very passage through which promise was accessed. Every single time you have felt yourself going down in a season when you were expecting to be rising, something deeper was happening. You were not losing altitude. You were entering the Yarden. You were stepping into the descent that precedes the crossing. The pattern that is intensifying around you right now, the J that is present, the feeling that you have been going down when you expected up, this is not malfunction. This is the shape of Yarden. J goes down, so you go up. I want to pause here for a moment, because what I am about to share was placed on my heart with unusual weight. I do not often step into a moment like this, and I want you to receive it carefully. This is not my voice talking about heaven. This is what I heard when I was quiet long enough to listen. And I hear the Father saying to you, right now, in this hour, I have seen you standing at this edge. I have seen the weariness you thought no one noticed. I have seen the nights you stayed up, replaying the conversations, running the interactions back through your mind, wondering if you were imagining things or making too much of nothing. You were not imagining. I am speaking of it now, because I did not bring you to the edge of this river to leave you unprotected. There is a J close to you. I am not silent about it. And the descent you have been walking was never hidden from me. It was always held inside my hands. Sit in that for a moment. Do not rush past it. A word like that does not need to be decoded. It only needs to be received. If heaven is speaking to your spirit in this hour, I want you to place 2 words in the comments, very simply. Just the words, I receive. Not as a performance, not as a formality. As a seal on what was just spoken over you. Every time a chosen one types those 2 words in response to a moment like this, something in the unseen places shifts. And when you do it, you are stepping into agreement with what was declared. Now I can finally answer the question you have been holding since the first minute of this message. Why did heaven use a letter instead of a name? The answer is beautiful, and it is the reason everything is about to click into place for you. Heaven used a letter because J is not one single thing. J operates on 3 levels at the same time. There is a J that is a person, the one you identified in the first layer. There is a J that is a pattern, the one we just walked through together. And there is a third J that we have not yet named, a J whose shadow has been hovering over this entire message from the beginning. If heaven had given a name, the whole message would have shrunk down to 1 person and 1 relationship. And that would have been far smaller than the message heaven was trying to deliver. By choosing a letter, heaven held the door open so that all 3 layers could live inside the same word, and so that every chosen one listening could find the J that belongs specifically to them. Heaven uses letters when names are too small to hold the truth. That is the rule. And the truth being held inside the letter J for your life is large enough to carry your entire next season. Now, let me show you the truth beneath the truth. Because everything I have shown you so far, the person, the pattern, the descent, the Yarden, all of it is accurate. But it is not the whole truth. And if you stop here, you will walk away with a strong teaching, but you will miss the turn. There is one more piece I have been holding back on purpose. I wanted you to earn it by walking through the first 2 layers with me. And when you see it, everything I have just said will shift meaning in your spirit. What looked like a warning about them is about to become a warning about something else entirely. Something much closer to you than you are expecting. Stay with me. You already saw the J who is a person. You already saw the J who is a pattern. And I told you there was one more piece I had been holding on purpose, because I wanted you to earn it by walking through the first 2 layers with me. Here it is. Receive it slowly. The moment this one lands, the whole message is going to shift shape inside your spirit. Put down every other thought you are carrying for the next 2 minutes. What I am about to share was placed on my heart with more weight than anything else in this message. These are not my own thoughts. This is what I heard when I sat quietly long enough for my own noise to drop away. And I hear the Father saying to you, in this hour. The warning is not about them. The warning is not for them. The warning is about you. The J in your life is a mirror, and what you see in that mirror, what rises up in you the first 3 seconds after the sting, that is the test I have been preparing you for all along. Not the J, you. I know that one landed. So, let me walk you through what it means, with care, because a word this heavy deserves a gentle opening. The J was never the target of the warning. The The J was the instrument. Heaven is not asking you to expose them, outmaneuver them, cut them off, or win some quiet war against them. Heaven is pointing at the reflection in the mirror and saying, look at who rises up in you when they rise up in front of you. Because every threshold in your life is guarded by one final question. Always the same question. Will you cross over as the wounded version of who you used to be, or as the consecrated version of who you have become? The J is simply how that question gets asked. Let me give you the difference between those two versions in the most practical language I can find. Reaction lives in your nervous system. It moves fast. It moves before thought. Somebody says something edged, you feel the sting, and within 3 seconds your mouth is already moving, your fingers are already typing, your internal story is already writing itself. Reaction is what the younger, wounded version of you built in order to survive a world that was not always safe. It protected you once. It does not serve you now. Response lives in a deeper place. Response has a pause inside it. Response sees the J clearly without collapsing into the J. Response moves from identity, not from injury. Here is the line I want you to carry with you today. Reaction asks, how do I protect the wound? Response asks, who am I now that the wound has been healed? Which brings us to the practical part, because a teaching without a tool is decoration. So, let me hand you something you can actually use the very next time a J moment lands in your life. I call this the threshold pause. 72 hours, 4 steps. Hold the shape of it in your mind because you are going to need it soon. The first step is the naming step. When a J moment hits, you simply name it quietly inside yourself. Not out loud, not to anyone else. Just to your own spirit you say, this is a J moment. That is all. No action, no text, no message, no phone call, no big clarifying conversation, just the inner acknowledgement. The second step is the one that will feel strange at first. For the next 72 hours, I do not want you to pray about them. I know that sounds backwards. You have probably been trained to pray about difficult people. Set that down for 3 days. Instead, pray only about your response. Ask for clarity about you. Ask to be shown which version of yourself is about to step into the situation. Let the J stay outside the prayer. Let only your own heart be inside it. The third step is the honest check. At the end of the 72 hours, you ask yourself one clear question. Did I react as the wounded version, or did I respond as the consecrated version? And you answer it in exactly 3 sentences, written down somewhere, even if it is just in the Notes app on your phone. 3 sentences, honest, no performance. The fourth step is where most people skip ahead too quickly. Only after the third step is truthfully done, you are allowed to decide what external action, if any, to take. And I will tell you something most people do not realize about this practice. By the time you reach step 4, the situation has almost always softened on its own, or the path forward is obvious. Or you realize no action was needed at all. The threshold pause collapses the distance between stimulus and response, and that gap is exactly where your true identity gets formed. I want to tell you about someone who walked this out, because a teaching without a story never sticks in the spirit. There is a woman who wrote into us a few months ago. I will not share her name. I will only share the shape of her story, because the shape is what matters. She was a teacher, 2 weeks away from an opportunity she had been praying about for almost 3 years. The details of the opportunity do not matter. What matters is that she knew the door was close. And 2 weeks out, a J entered the picture. Someone she worked near, someone whose name started with the letter we have been talking about. The undermining was subtle at first, a quiet comment in a meeting, an exclusion that looked accidental but was not, an email forwarded to the wrong person, marked as a mistake but timed too carefully. 3 years earlier, she would have handled it the way she used to handle everything. She would have confronted. She would have gathered the evidence. She would have walked into the principal's office, ready to defend herself piece by piece. But that week, she had heard a teaching that sounded a lot like this one, and something inside her remembered. She did not confront. She named it as a J moment in her spirit. She did not pray about the co-worker. She prayed about her own response. She sat with her 3 sentences on a Sunday evening and wrote them honestly, and she waited. About 6 weeks later, her breakthrough arrived, right on the original timing, not delayed by the J, not sabotaged by the J, not even touched by the J. And when she sat down to write in and tell us what had happened, her very first line was this. She said, "Thank you for telling me the warning was about me, not them." She said, "I almost missed my own season trying to win an argument with a shadow." If any part of that story just landed somewhere real inside you, if something in your spirit just said, "That is what is happening to me right now," place 2 words in the comments. Just the words, "I choose." I choose the consecrated version. I choose the pause. I choose not to walk into my next season still fighting with the version of me I was supposed to leave behind. Now, take me back to the very beginning of this message for a moment. Remember the river I told you about? I told you there was a river standing between where you are right now and where you are going. I told you that river had a name, and we would get to it before the end. We already named it Yarden, Jordan. Here is what I want you to hold. The J you have been sensing at the edge of Yarden is not your enemy. The J is the final gatekeeper before the crossing. And what we still have not talked about is what is waiting on the other side of that crossing. Because there is a specific reason this test is arriving at this exact moment in your life. There is a reason the pressure intensified. There is a reason the pattern sharpened. There is a reason the dream came. Something is opening for you, and I want to show you what it is. But before I show you, I have one more piece of the picture to place into your hands, a piece that connects everything we have just learned into a single daily practice. And I promise you, it will change the way you walk through the weeks ahead. Stay with me. Let me hold everything we have just walked through in flat, plain language for a moment, because a teaching this layered deserves a quiet place to rest before we keep going. There is someone or something close to you whose initial is J. That is real. It is not imagined. Your spirit has been tracking it for weeks now, and today heaven confirmed what you already sensed. That J is carrying a pattern that tends to show up right before a threshold crossing. The pattern is neither random nor personal. It is the ordinary shape of formation. Joseph walked through it. Joshua walked through it. Anyone who has ever stepped into something larger than themselves has walked through it. The real warning was not about them. The warning was a mercy sent ahead of time so that when the J arrived, you would meet it from the consecrated version of yourself, not the wounded one. That was the test. That is what today was really about. And underneath all of it, there is a river, Yarden, Jordan, a descent that precedes ascent. A crossing you have been circling for longer than you realized. Take one breath here, with me, before we keep going. Here is the piece most people never hear. The test does not happen in a vacuum. Your capacity to hold the threshold pause. Your capacity to respond from the consecrated version of yourself. Your capacity to stay rooted in who you have become when the J shows up. All of it is directly shaped by the frequency your brain is carrying in the exact moment the test arrives. That frequency has a name. In brain science, it is called gamma, and gamma is the reason two people in the same J moment respond in completely different ways. Remember, at the very beginning of this message, I mentioned that for decades, researchers have been quietly studying something specific about people wired the way you are wired. I want to circle back to that now, because it becomes practical here in a way I have not yet explained. You were not born average. You have known this about yourself since you were a child. Go back for a moment. When you were small, things came to you quickly. You felt what people in the room were feeling before they said a word. You absorbed information at a speed your teachers sometimes could not keep up with. You had intuitions that turned out to be right, and you could not explain how. You saw patterns adults around you missed. That was never your imagination. That was your gamma. Chosen ones are born carrying stronger gamma frequency than the general population. The brightness of your childhood inner world, the depth of your sensitivity, the speed of your learning, all of it ran on gamma. And the same frequency that made childhood feel lit from within is the same frequency that decides whether you hold the threshold pause when the J arrives. A teacher wrote in a few weeks back. She said something that stayed with me. She had been using this exact frequency tool every morning for about a month, and when her own J moment landed, the thing she noticed was not that she felt stronger. She said the opposite. She said, "I felt quieter. The sting did not reach as deep. The sentence I would have fired back never even formed in my mind." She said it was the first time in her adult life that a difficult moment passed through her without leaving a mark on her spirit. That is what gamma reactivation does in a threshold season. Here is the research foundation, kept simple. Dr. Robert Lake has spent 34 years documenting a phenomenon he calls the decline effect, measurable on an EEG. Verified in labs at MIT and Princeton, alongside other leading research institutions. Dr. Lake documented what happens to gamma frequency in chosen ones as they move through adulthood. In childhood, gamma runs high and active. In early adulthood, the weight of modern life, chronic stress, overstimulation, emotional load carried without release, slowly lowers gamma into dormancy. You did not lose your gift. Your frequency went quiet, and once gamma goes quiet, everything that depended on it also goes quiet. The intuition, the pattern recognition, the emotional regulation, the ability to stay grounded under pressure, including the ability to respond instead of react when the J arrives. I want to address something before we go any further, because I can sense the question rising in some of you. Some of you are thinking, I have tried so many things: meditation, breathwork, mindset work, affirmations, expensive courses, and your exhaustion is valid. Everything else you have tried has asked your brain to change itself from the inside out, slowly, hoping something shifts over months. Brain entrainment is a completely different mechanism. It works from the outside in, at the level of frequency itself, measurable in minutes rather than months. Others of you are thinking, this sounds too clean to be real. I understand that skepticism. It is the mark of someone who has been let down before. That is exactly why what stands behind this is not testimonials alone. It is EEG readings. It is peer-reviewed research. More than 18,000 people have used this so far. And I know $39 is not a small number for everyone listening. I see that too. I am not going to pretend it is pocket change. I just want to acknowledge that for many chosen ones, the weight of a decision like this is real, and it deserves to be respected. The tool Dr. Lake built is called the Genius Song, 7 minutes of audio. designed to reactivate gamma frequency in chosen ones who have been living in the decline effect without even knowing it. Here is how it arrived at the number it is. First, the core technology. Dr. Lake spent 34 years compressing this research into something you can use in 7 minutes a day. That kind of technology, if it existed in a clinical setting, would cost thousands of dollars across multiple sessions. Second, the original retail price of this was set at $49. That alone was already far below anything comparable. Third, for anyone listening to this message today, the price has been lowered to $39, not because it is a commercial sale, but because Dr. Lake's stated mission has always been to reach the chosen ones who actually need this, not the ones who can most easily afford it. Fourth, and this is where the full value becomes clear, when you receive the audio track, you also receive 4 additional bonuses at no extra cost. The first is Genius Child, valued at $19. The second is the Classic Book, valued at $20. The third is the Guided Visualization, valued at $29. The fourth is the 5-Habit Infographic, valued at $12. That is $80 in additional value, layered on top of the core technology for a total price of $39. And fifth, the guarantee, 60 days, full refund, no questions asked, no product to return, no forms to fill out. And here is the part most companies would never include. If you decide this is not for you, and you ask for a refund, you keep all 4 bonuses. All $80 of bonus value stays yours, not as a concession, as an apology for your time. If the technology did not serve you the way it has served more than 96% of the 18,000 people who have used it so far, I want to weave in one honest note about timing. There is no fake scarcity here, no 24-hour countdown, no pretend urgency. The only urgency that is actually real is this. Every day that your gamma stays dormant is a day you are walking through your season at a lower frequency than you were designed for. The J will come when the J comes. Thresholds do not wait for you to feel ready. The only question is whether gamma is online when that moment arrives, or whether you are still leaning on the willpower you have been running on for years. Before I hand you the link, I have to tell you something most people in my position will not say out loud. There are counterfeit versions of this circulating right now. Lookalikes on other platforms using the name without the actual entrainment technology underneath. They sound similar to the untrained ear. They are not the same thing at all. The real one, with the full technology, the 4 bonuses, and the keep everything guarantee, is only available through the link in the description and the pinned comment under this message. Do not search Amazon, do not search Spotify, do not search YouTube for it. The link below this video is the only place where the authentic version lives. If this is your season to cross, and something in your spirit is telling you that gamma reactivation is part of how you carry yourself across, the link is there. Take it as an invitation, not a push. The Genius song is waiting for the chosen ones who are ready to meet their J from a stronger frequency than the one they have been running on. Now, back to the J, back to the river, back to you. Before this message ends, I am going to do something with you that is not a regular prayer. It is closer to a crossing declaration. Something I want you to carry with you for the next 30 days, whether or not every other sentence of this message stays with you. I have been holding it for this exact moment. Take one breath with me. The hardest part of the teaching is behind us. What comes now is ceremony. You have seen the J who is a person. You have seen the J who is a pattern. You have been given the threshold pause to hold when the J shows up. You have been shown the science that sits underneath your ability to respond from the consecrated version of yourself. Here is the full truth. All three J's have been the same J all along. The J who is close to you, the one you identified in the first layer of this message, is real. The J who is a pattern, the one carrying the shape of formation we walked through together, is real. But the deepest J, the one heaven was really warning about, the one that has been hovering quietly over this entire message from the very first word, is this. It is Jordan. It is the threshold itself. It is the crossing you have been circling for longer than you know. The J person exists in your life because you are standing at the edge of Jordan. The J pattern intensified in your life because you are standing at the edge of Jordan. They are the gatekeepers. They are not the destination. The destination is on the other side of the water. Hold this with me. In the book of Joshua, when the people of Israel arrived at the Jordan, the water was at flood stage, swollen, moving fast, impossible to cross by sight. And the instruction Joshua was given was not, wait for the water to recede. The instruction was, tell the priests to carry the ark and step into the water. The water did not part before the step. The water parted when the step was already wet. Faith preceded the miracle. The descent preceded the ascent. The J preceded the crossing. You are not being warned about something that is coming. You are being prepared for something you are already standing at the edge of, which means something gentle and something heavy at the same time. Gentle, because the test that has been weighing on your spirit for weeks now is not an ongoing season. It is a threshold moment. It was designed to end. It has a finish line. You are closer to the crossing than you are to the starting point. Heavy, because the crossing only happens when the step is already wet. There is no way around Jordan. There is only through. There are conversations for what happens after the crossing. The longer arc of a chosen one walking fully in their inheritance. The destiny's embrace season that follows a complete crossing. Those are conversations for later. Today is not that day. Today is the edge. Today is the step into the water. Today is the response, not the reward. I want to do something gentle with you before we move into the closing. Not a full meditation, just something small that works whether you are sitting still, lying in bed, or driving with your eyes on the road. If you are somewhere safe, let your eyes soften or close. If you are driving, just let your gaze rest on the road and let the picture form in your mind without needing to see it with your eyes. Place yourself at the edge of a wide, slow river. The water is moving, steady, unhurried. You can hear it. You can feel the cool air rising off the surface. On the other side of the river, you see a version of yourself already standing there. That version is calm. That version is grounded. That version is living in the next season, already walking in the consecration you have been growing into. Between you and that version, the water moves, and behind you, there is a figure. It could be a person, it could be a feeling, it could be a pattern. It has the letter J on it. You do not need to turn around. You do not need to fight. You do not need to explain yourself. You simply lift one foot and you place it into the water. This is not a regular visualization. This is a commissioning. Heaven is showing you what has already been decided in the unseen places, and your body is being given a memory to return to the next time a J moment arrives. Let the stillness settle. Stay with me in this quiet for one more moment. You have walked 40 minutes of teaching with me today. You received 4 signs, 3 layers of J, 1 ancient word, 1 practice, 1 research foundation, 1 crossing. That is a lot to hold in one sitting. Receive it. Let it settle. Do not rush back into the day with it still unpacked. And here is the one thing I want you to release before we close. Not everything. not a long list. Just one specific thing. Release the wounded version of yourself that would have met the J as an enemy. You are not leaving them behind. You are leaving her behind. You are leaving him behind. You are leaving the reactive, self-defending, evidence-gathering, proving-yourself version of who you used to be on this side of the river. You are stepping into the water without her, without him. Let it go. Let her go. Let him go. And I hear the Father saying over you, in this hour, with the kind of quiet authority that does not need volume, you have crossed, the J has been met, the test has been completed, and I have declared it. Hear the words you have been waiting for. You are the one who was tested at the threshold and did not retaliate. You are the one who saw the J and did not lose your consecration. You are the one who stepped into Jordan and the water parted exactly where your foot came down. Not because you earned it with perfection, because you responded with identity, because you remembered who you are now, and you refused to cross over carrying the wounded version of who you used to be. If that word just landed on you, if you felt something in your chest settle while those 3 declarations were spoken, place one word in the comments, just the word, Amen. Say it in agreement with what has been declared. Say it as a seal. Do not close this out yet. Stay with me for one more breath. You are not alone in this crossing. All across the world, in this exact hour, other chosen ones are standing at their own Jordan, each one of them holding a different J, each one of them being asked the same question, each one of them receiving the same quiet word. If someone came to your mind while you were listening to this message, someone who has been unusually quiet, someone you sense is standing at their own river's edge, share this with them. That is how the crossing spreads. And from my spirit to yours, this message is now sealed. The work is done. Walk gently into the rest of your day. It is sealed.